Some people didn't really get to be kids emotionally. They learned to stay quiet, solve their own problems, and not ask for too much. Very early. And from the outside, that can look like maturity, like strength, like independence. But sometimes it wasn't a choice. Sometimes it was just what life required. And years later, that early emotional independence can still shape how you think, how you connect, and how you handle stress, often without even realizing it. So in this video, let's talk about a few signs you might have grown emotionally independent too early, and what that actually means. One of the clearest signs is that you almost never ask for help, even when you're overwhelmed, even when things are hard. You're used to figuring everything out on your own, not because you don't trust people, but because at some point you learned that relying on yourself felt safer. So instead of reaching out, you push through. You carry things quietly. And you tell yourself, I'll handle it. It looks like strength, but it can also mean you learned very early that your needs had to come second. Another sign is that you're often the strong one for everyone else. The listener, the problem solver, the calm person in stressful situations. People come to you when things fall apart, and you usually know what to say. But when it's your turn, you often stay quiet. You handle it alone, because being the strong one became familiar, comfortable even. And sometimes you don't even realize you're allowed to need support too. Another quiet sign is that expressing emotions doesn't always come naturally to you. Not because you don't feel deeply, but because early on you might have learned to keep things inside. Maybe there wasn't space for big emotions. Maybe you had to stay calm when things around you weren't. So now instead of openly saying how you feel, you often process it alone. You think first, analyze, contain it. And sometimes people assume you're distant, when really, you just learn to handle emotions privately. Another sign is that you often feel responsible for other people's emotions. You notice tension quickly. You sense when someone is upset. And, without even thinking, you try to keep things calm. Sometimes you avoid conflict. Sometimes you hold your own feelings back just to keep the peace. Not because you're weak, but because early on, harmony might have felt like safety. So now, even as an adult, part of you still tries to protect that calm, sometimes at your own expense. If some of these signs felt familiar, it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. Often, it just means you learned to be strong a little earlier than most. And while that strength helped you cope back then, it's okay to let yourself need support now too. You don't always have to carry everything alone, and you don't always have to be the strong one. Sometimes healing is simply allowing yourself to relax, to share a little more, and to realize you don't have to do life completely on your own. And if videos like this resonate with you, feel free to subscribe. I make calm psychology videos about emotions, relationships, and understanding yourself a little better.